In this video, I'm going to be continuing my exploration of Infidel with another scenario or a battle from the Crusades. This one is Harran, Crusader Kingdoms of Antioch and Edessa, 7 May 1104. And I believe what is happening here is the Crusaders under Baldwin II are besieging Harran, and to relieve the siege, the Seljuks under Soğukman come in with the Turkish cavalry and basically attack Baldwin. And that's basically what happens in this battle. I think this is a longer game. It's probably a couple hours to play. And the flight level for the Crusaders is 30. And for the Turks, it's 40. And I remember, I can see in my book here that there was some labeling in the setup of the Edessan army. And it's got Burgundian and Lorraine troops, and I don't think it's supposed to. I think so I've got them crossed out in here. The Turkish army is basically going to be made up of light cavalry and medium cavalry, and a lot of them can shoot, so they can go in and do hit and run tactics, and then if you try to approach them, they're going to have reaction fire. So this is going to be a hard fought battle for the Crusaders, but we'll go down to the map and see how this plays out. So it's May 7th of 1104 AD, and this picture shows the opening setup of the Battle of Harran. And on the top of the picture, you see the Turkish army led by Soğukman, and he basically has cavalry that are ready to go with archery, and it's a very large force. And then in the bottom part of the picture, we see the Edessan army with Baldwin II leading, as well as Jocelyn. Baldwin is leading the Edessan Knights. Jocelyn is leading the Edessan Pike Infantry. And then to their right, you see the Antioch army with Bohemond of Taranto and Tancred of Taranto with Sicilian Norman Knights and Pike Infantry. And so we'll have to see how these hold up against this attack by the Turkish army. As I already said, this army is led by Soğukman, and the Turks do have the initiative in this battle, so they start, and as shown in this next picture, we can see that the Turks have advanced across the stream, and because they have archery fire, they'll be able to take some pot shots, but they didn't really get into direct contact with the Edessans. And so the Edessans then activated and launched right into contact, which I don't know if that was wise or not, because these are all archers and they can launch reactive fire, which can result in disruptions, which hampers your forces on the attack. And that's basically what happened here. You see Baldwin II's knights, many of them on the front lines there are disordered. And I was kind of aggressive with him. Then moving on to the next picture, we see some what I call battlefield chaos. You can see a number of the Edessan forces are still disrupted, and we do see that the cavalry is spread out quite a bit, but this is because they're quite mobile. So I tried to use that as the Turks as an advantage, and I believe around the time of this picture, the Crusaders' flight level was up to 11 points. The Turkoman cavalry are just riding away after they fire their arrows. And the Turks have only 5 flight points. So the battle is still kind of favoring the Turks. As activations continue, we see in this next picture where Soğukman has continued his attack, and he basically has the Edessan army surrounded. You can see in the front, the top middle part of the picture, you've got Turkish cavalry coming in, but then on the Crusaders' right, there's a large force that have crossed the stream that are ready to hit them in the flank. And then right off the left side of the picture, a lot of these forces didn't make it into the picture, but there's a wing of the Turkish cavalry that is set to pounce on these retired units at the standard. So I eventually had to do something about this. The Crusaders activated the Baldwin II standard so I could unretire those units and get my flight level down a little bit. And I was able to bring it back down to 15 points, but a flight level of 30, I think, is what the Crusaders have. And of course, that is also with adding a die roll on at the end of the free activation. So shown in this picture is Karaja's Syrian cavalry. These, I believe, were on the Turkish left, so they're hitting here against Jocelyn. And Jocelyn was part of the Edessan forces, and after these attacks, the Crusaders' flight points are now up to 25. So, I mean, a die roll can really do a lot of damage. And that is exactly what happened. This next picture shows the Crusaders fleeing the battlefield because the archers are just coming in and attacking these disordered knights and eliminating them. And the Crusaders' flight level, I think, was 35 points. So this is the end of the day. And Baldwin, I guess, technically survived here, as shown in this last picture. Baldwin II, he's riding away, but he lives, but he has no army. I think historically the Crusaders did lose this battle. I think they were routed in this one. And if I remember correctly, Baldwin II was a prisoner of war, I think. But anyway, that carries us on through the Crusades and the Men of Iron series. And so stay tuned if you'd like to see more war games or more games from the Men of Iron series. Have a great day.